Hi, welcome back to Penergic Life. I am Matt.
I'm Jamie.
This is our third video in a series of shooting fundamentals. Today's video is going to be sight alignment. But before we hit sight alignment, we're going to talk about eye dominance.
So before I started working with Matt on fundamentals as a new shooter, I'm right-handed. The assumption was that if I'm right-handed, that I would also shoot with right eye dominance. And that wasn't the case. And the instructing that I had previous didn't take the time to really feel that out. And so as a result of not realizing that I was cross-eye dominant, meaning I'm actually left-eye dominant, is it cross-eye dominant?
That's called cross-eye dominant.
Not realizing that that was the case, I developed a coping strategy on my own. So now I look a little weird when I shoot, and Matt is trying to fix that, and I'm trying to fix that. But basically what happens is because I am left eye dominant when I shoot, but I was being set up as a right eye dominant because I'm right-handed, I bring my head down now to try to get my left eye. And so when you see me shoot, I'll have this kind of weird quirk to my neck that Matt is attempting to fix. So that is why, in my opinion, I think new shooters should understand that you can't make that assumption.
Cross-eye dominance is an issue that affects probably close to 1/3 of the population, roughly. And before you start shooting, there's a couple things. You can be right-handed and you can shoot a pistol without any issue with cross-eye dominance. Most people, you'll see, they'll aim, and you can sort of see it because they'll turn their head a little bit. So that's a first cue. Okay, so a good exercise to determine which eye our brain favors is to basically, I'm going to have Jamie demonstrate this, okay? Basically what I want you to do is I want you to create between the two areas of your thumb, I want you to create a tiny hole that you can see, and I want you to pick a point on that far wall, okay? And immediately, I don't want you to think about it, pull it back to your eye. All right, try that again. You're finding a point on that wall. You're making a small opening in between your thumbs. Immediately pull it back to your eye. Now you notice Jamie is pulling this back to her left eye, okay? If you think about this too much, you're gonna be like, well, I could pull it to the other eye, okay? But your inclination, your first inclination without thinking about it, finding that wall, that point on the wall, pulling it back to your eye is where your brain naturally wants to go. So this shows us that Jamie is left eye dominant. This is a quick test. There's some other tests that you can do too, but this is a quick, fast, and easy one. If you don't think about it, you pick a spot on the wall, you pick something to focus on, you create a small hole, and you pull it back to your face, and it's going to go to your dominant eye. What sight alignment is basically lining up your rear sights with your front sight, putting it on the target where you want the round to impact the target, okay? So how we normally do this, okay? You have one front sight, which I'm going to demonstrate with my finger, okay? And then you'll have, there's different types of sights that are on the market, but you'll have a rear sight, which is demonstrated by my rear finger. And what you basically want to do is you want to get this front sight completely level with the rear sight, and you want to have an equal amount of light that comes through on both sides of the rear sight. Just think about putting it directly on your bullseye, right? And that's where that's your sight picture, okay? So the target should look blurry, and your sight should be, especially your front sight, should be crisp, okay? So that's what you're focusing on, and that's commonly disconcerting to new shooters because they're like, well, my target, I can't see it, it's blurry. And it's fine if it's blurry because it's in your periphery. Another thing that's very, very important, because we've already talked about stance, and we've talked about these fundamentals being a system, okay? So we've gone through stance, we've gone through grip, okay? Now we've gone through sight alignment, okay? We're gonna move on to breathing control, okay, or breath control, and we're going to move on to trigger squeeze after that. So it's very, very important that what we need to know with sight alignment is once we have it, we don't want to lose it. So that's why these other things that will be coming up in this series are so important as well, and why you have to do everything as a system. Thank you for tuning into this series, and please take the time, if you can, to visit our website, which is www.prenergic.life, and remember, live in freedom.
As a new shooter, I'm right hand, and I think it was, the assumption was
I'm right-handed.